This story was told to me by Verdon R. Adams, and it took place on a farm outside of Hydra, Oklahoma. It was Christmas, and one of Papa's brothers came from Kentucky to visit. Now, Mama said Uncle Johnny had a glass eye, and she said it was a bit unusual, and we should be very careful about looking at it, and we shouldn't stare at it or say anything about it when he was in the room. Now, Uncle Johnny arrived on Christmas Eve, and Mama was right. His eyes were funny. One of them would move and look all around, and the other eye always stared straight ahead. The very next morning, Christmas morning, Uncle Johnny slept late because he'd had a long ride the day before. But I couldn't wait to see what Santa had brought, and I wanted Uncle Johnny to come downstairs with me. So I went to the back room, and he was awake, but he just had one eye open. And he said, "Is breakfast ready, Verdon?" And I told him it wasn't, but I thought he ought to come down and see the presents that Santa had left under the tree. And he said, "I'd like to rest a little longer, but why don't you take my eye down and show the presents to it?" He picked up a glass that was sitting on the table and handed it to me. It was half full of water, and the eye was in it. It was a little scary, but I took it and walked carefully down the stairs to the front room. I walked around the Christmas tree, holding the glass out, turning and jiggling it so the eye could look at all those wonderful packages. Now, us kids weren't supposed to look in our stockings, not until everybody got out of bed. But I didn't see any harm in Uncle Johnny's eye peeking inside of mine. I slowly slid the glass down inside the stocking that had Verdon stitched on it, then swiveled it all around, then slid it back out and crept back up the stairs. I handed the glass back to Uncle Johnny, and he turned away and put the eye back in his head. And he said, "Well, looky here. I sure want to thank you, little nephew. These packages are just great. And what a lucky little man you are to get a shiny round orange in the middle of winter and a brand new Barlow knife." Well, when all my brothers and sisters got out of bed, we went straight to our stockings, and sure enough, Santa had brought me a shiny round orange and a brand new Barlow knife. For many years, I could not be convinced that his eye hadn't seen what was in my stocking. Not until Mama told me that it was Uncle Johnny, who had brought the orange and the Barlow knife and many of the presents that went into the stockings that Christmas. Now, I have a family of my own, and though Uncle Johnny is no longer with us, he left us with a gift that will always enable us to see the magic in Christmas.